Your US men's national team versus Belgium preview. All right, round of 16. That's right, round of 16. In Seattle, Washington, Lumen Field, which is now the new home of the US men's national team. We saw them versus Australia, one of the most ridiculous venues and atmospheres around. We'll get into it. US men's national team versus Belgium. This is not the same Belgium team. Not the one that in March dropped 5 on you. This isn't the same US men's national team. Not the one in March that ate 5. Different players, different moments, different psyche. For the US men's national team, the projected lineup, what we think Mauricio Pochettino will do, because there's a few choices here, but let's talk about the obvious. Matt Freese in goal. You're going to have from left to right, Anthony Robinson, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Alex Freeman. Same back four you've had all tournament long. In front, Tyler Adams, Malik Tillman, Weston McKennie. On the right-hand side, Serginho Dest. On the left-hand side, Christian Pulisic. Suspended Folarin Balogun, not there. How do you replace a goal scorer like Folarin Balogun? 3 goals this World Cup. Arguably, if he played against Turkey and if he was playing against Belgium, you had 2 games, could be fighting for the Golden Boot. Please, bear with me, stay with me. The Golden Boot fight right now, if you're at 4, you're in it. He's at 3 and didn't play a group stage game and won't play this next game. How do you replace that category of a player? It's Ricardo Pepi or it's Haji Wright. I'd even argue there's an outside chance of a false 9. Not Christian Pulisic, I don't think that worked. But a Timothy Weah. Timothy Weah could be an option this game. It'll be Ricardo Pepi. Because Ricardo Pepi, when he played with the likes of Christian Pulisic, Serginho Dest, and Alex Freeman, these likes against Senegal, he linked up very well. He fit in. It'll be Ricardo Pepi because that's who's the next guy up when there was a need for a second forward, both in substitutions and against Australia when he played alongside Folarin Balogun. Pochettino's tipped his hand. But if you need that false 9, and this is something that Pochettino has often done throughout his coaching history. I read an interesting article in The Athletic. Henry Bushnell had an article about how back when City was involved versus Tottenham Hotspur in the Champions League semifinals, I believe it was, second leg, Harry Kane was injured, ankle injury. How do you replace a player like Harry Kane? It was Lucas Moura and Son. They played 2 up front, and he changed things. Now, Christian Pulisic has played as a second forward for AC Milan first half of this season under Massimo Allegri. It looked good. Second half, it looked atrocious. He and Rafa Leao couldn't find each other, couldn't even look at each other. It was just terrible. He didn't feel comfortable. But if you go false 9, we saw the Christian Pulisic experiment in Belgium. That didn't work. What about Timothy Weah? What about a player like Weah? What about a player who feels comfortable running a line? Think about Wales versus the U.S. men's national team in the World Cup 2022. The movement he made to score the goal, where did it come from? How did it finish? Who fed him the ball? It was Christian Pulisic. How was it finished? Outside the foot. In a 1v1 situation. Open space, he is lethal. And I can think of nobody who wants that opportunity right now like Timothy Weah. He's been maybe a casualty of the tactics of Mauricio Pochettino because there's no real need for a real winger. So he's kind of that odd man out, if you will, right now. But this could be a possibility to showcase those attributes. That said, most likely will be Ricardo Pepi, and Ricardo has proven to link up very well with his teammates. And when given the opportunity in front of goal, he's a guy that oftentimes puts the ball away. All right, this Belgium team, okay? Their center backs are a fiasco. They lack athletic ability both in the midfield and in the back line. They're a little long in the tooth in big positions. Kevin De Bruyne, Lukaku's coming off the bench. He is a handful. Trossard and Doku, the strengths are on the outside. They're very good. They play with the false nine themselves in the Ketelaere, and they're a little reliant on the World Cup goalkeeper, the best world goalkeeper, that is Thibaut Courtois. That said, Gabacchio coming off the bench, they've got some nice pieces. This team's been very poor. Very poor in World Cup play. Very poor in their group play. Very poor in their last game. Senegal, I don't know how they lost that game. Yeah, you could say it's a blown PK, blown call they shouldn't have called, but at the end of the day, they were closer to eating 3 than they were to scoring their first goal. Thibaut Courtois comes up with a world-class save, ridiculous save to keep him 2-0, give his team a chance, and in the final 15-20 minutes, they take this game into overtime, and then they seal it and steal it. It's a team you should take seriously. But I think physically this matchup plays so well for the U.S. men's national team. We just watched Morocco play against Canada, and Canada physically is very similar to the U.S. in how they can press you, how they can test you. And Morocco suffered. We've seen this with teams like Cape Verde, Cabo Verde, and the Argentine national team. We've seen this with Congo and England. We've seen this so many different times, how a physical team with discipline and tactical stability and, yes, technical ability can complicate every single team in this tournament. And I do not think the U.S. men's national team is an exception. I think they have clear advantages, and I've been saying this, and I will repeat this, to other teams in this tournament. They can hurt Belgium. Absolutely. The problem is Belgium can absolutely hurt you. They can 100% hurt you. But in Lumen Field, 5 o'clock local kickoff, the sun is still there, with a team that can press you physically, coming off 120 minutes, Belgium. It's not an impossible task. 2014, the U.S. men's national team played against Belgium, and that 2014 for the U.S. men's national team was a very good team, got out of the group of death, but if you go player per player, maybe not as individually talented as this 11. You had the likes of Clint Dempsey on there. Yes, you did. You had some very good players like Michael Bradley. Yes, you did. But look at the platforms where these players are playing right now. Look at the moment of these players. The X factor here is that Fowler and Balogun is out. That, for me, tips the scales and makes it more of a 50-50. If not, I'd be sitting here, and you know that I've been very critical of this program and in the lead up to it, but I see what's going on right now, and I'd be overwhelmingly more positive about the U.S. chances if Fowler and Balogun was here. But he's not. So with what you have, how can you hurt him? And they can still hurt him. That Belgium team that played in 2014 is way more talented than this Belgium team. Thibaut Courtois, Kevin De Bruyne, and Lukaku played in 2014 in that overtime game. They're still playing here now. The U.S. can beat Belgium. You got to be very cautious. But they can beat them. In transition, with their intensity, with their aggression, with how good they are on the outside with players like Serginho Dest. If you can isolate a Serginho Dest, isolate a Christian Pulisic, which the U.S. men's national team did not do a good job of versus Bosnia, and everything goes out the window once Bosnia, is up a man. There's following Balogun red card. It goes out the window. You just got to survive, and they did. And they not only survived, they scored a goal and made it 2-0. They went up. They won twice, if you will. It was very, very professional performance that proved that it could catapult them in a different mental state. Winning like that gives you something. This team can compete with Belgium in the way they come out playing, in the way that Alex Freeman joins the attack, in the way that an Anthony Robinson flanks that left-hand side by himself and allows Christian Pulisic to roam, and in a way that Serginho Dest can isolate, in a way that the deep runs pull and drag opponents from Malik Tillman and Weston McKennie. If they can continue these deep runs, continue these things, whoever's at the 9 position can feast, can eat. They'll have opportunities. And the U.S. men's national team is the best team in this tournament off of set pieces. 4 set-piece goals. I see a set-piece goal here for a defender, no less. I really do. They have clear advantages physically, on set pieces, in intensity, in ball recuperation, the rest defense, if you will. Tyler Adams sitting as that third center back, allowing Alex Freeman to go alongside Chris Richards and Tim Ream. Tim Ream's passing, Chris Richards and how good he's been. Maybe the only enigma is Matt Freese, who's not been tested. Maybe that's the only enigma I have, or the only question mark I have about this team. But I know what I get from everybody else. Maybe they're not as deep off the bench. But even versus Bosnia, Mauricio Pochettino didn't go to that bench. He didn't have to try that bench. I believe 14 players, 3 subs came into that game. You're allowed 5. And he was man down, and he trusted the guys on the field. This is a good matchup. The U.S. men's national team can lose. Yes, they can lose. This is football. They can lose. Yes, they can lose. But if they play the way I think they play towards their ceiling, they're going to be closer to beating Belgium than they are to losing. I really do feel that. I think you're going to see a Belgium side that physically is going to be overwhelmed. Can you handle the moments in this game? A moment where Jeremy Doku becomes Jeremy Doku and 1v1 specialist, and he gives you fits. Can you control that? Can you weather that storm? For 25 minutes versus Belgium in Atlanta, you were the better team, and by a mile, a country mile. And then they grew into it. Can you learn from those mistakes? Luke Bacchio, if he comes off the bench. Lukaku, when he comes off the bench. Can you physically keep pace with them? Can you allow yourself to breathe? Because there are going to be moments in this game where you may be overwhelmed and you have to weather the storm, knowing that physically, if you weather that storm, you are better than them and you will overtake them. Can you do these things? And how will Mauricio Pochettino surprise us? Because he usually does. Will it be Ricardo Pepi, Haji Wright? Or do you think I may be onto something with this false 9 of Timothy Weah? You let me know. I love reading you guys.